Let us say our call to worship together. I worship and adore God, source, essence, and name of all things, spirit that enlivens all beings. I follow the way of Jesus, who found God in himself, and shared a way for others to find God in themselves. He was born through love, he lived for love, he suffered for love. He died for love, but love never dies. I submit myself to the leadings of the love that is God, that I may be compassionate to all needs, that I may live and serve in the community of others, that I may ask for and offer forgiveness, that I may praise and enjoy God forever. Amen. And we'll remain seated for the next hymn. It's a hymn that's done in the style of Taizé, which is, I would say it's a prayerful hymn. It's kind of like a prayer, kind of like a hymn. We remain seated and we sing it through 3 times. And I had planned to share the moderator's message, but I had to change a part. Started to show this video as it will relate to my sermon. I don't know if any of you are familiar. Have you seen Chariots of Fire? The movie Chariots of Fire? This is a scene from Chariots of Fire, and the runner Eric Liddell, it's based on a true story. He competed in the 1924 Paris Olympics. And he was competing in a race that wasn't his specialty. And I will just show you that race. He was a devout Christian, known as the Flying Scotsman, a medal hopeful, and I'll show you this video clip, and we'll be talking about it further.
No problem. He's a flyer. He's had 2 races today already. He'll die. Just swing along, you guys, and wait. After 300 meters, rigor mortis sets in. You'll pull him in on a rope.
Something true, something personal, something else that people don't understand and use. says in the old book, he that honors me, I will honor. Good luck, Jackson shows. So where does the power come from to see the race of its name from within? Ken, I believe God made me for a purpose. He also made me fast. And when I run, I feel His pleasure.
And that video clip is entitled He Honors God. It's a wonderful movie if you want to revisit it, if you can have it as a movie night sometime. When I was a coach of a cross-country team, we would watch this movie every year. And the head coach was a very faithful Christian, and there was myself. And that team got a lot of Christian messages, let me tell you. They were a very successful team. They were very successful and very gracious. Let us say our prayer of confession together. Forgive my trespasses, God on all sides. I have trespassed. I have crossed to where I should not go. I have transgressed boundaries and rules. I have overstepped to where I thought the grass was greener. I have stepped over the line and drawn into the sand. Forgive me as you forgive the trespasses of others. May I forgive others as you forgive trespasses of me. Lead me back to your pastures. Teach me humility and grace on the way. This I return to you in prayer, in your Christ. Amen. Love of God, forgiveness of God are ever available to us. Thanks be to God. And our scripture reading first is from Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And the gospel reading is from Mark. Mark is what they believe to be the first gospel that was written. It's the oldest. It's very short, and it's written much like a newspaper account. It's just the facts. They don't, and sometimes there's, I would say, a a lack of embellishment, it feels like. It's good to have, I'm glad we have the Gospel of Luke to fill and the Gospel of Matthew to fill in some more details. But when you read through the book of Mark, it's very action-oriented, and there's a certain dramatic tension that builds as you read through it. I chose it for this reading today. In those days, Jesus came from Nazareth of Galilee and was baptized by John in the Jordan. And just as he was coming up out of the water, he saw the heavens torn apart and the Spirit descending like a dove on him. And a voice came from heaven, "You are my Son, the Beloved. With you I am well pleased." And the Spirit immediately drove him out into the wilderness. He was in the wilderness 40 days, tempted by Satan, and he was with the wild beasts, and the angels waited on him. Not doing anything, okay. Just before, I just sort of hesitating to share this with you, but I feel led to share this with you. Because we've had some tension recently. We're not seeing Dave Hall and Liz Hall here, and everybody wonders what's going on. And what I understand this to be is a break. Just so you have that information. That's the information I have. If you want further information, speak to Dave or Liz Hall. I've been looking at and talking with other ministers, and one thing I realized that in the life of a church, there are people who will come and stay forever and always be there. There are people who will leave, they'll leave forever, or there are people who will take a break. So and when you have someone leave your church or take a break, the best way to be caring of them is to pray for them, be gracious to them, thank them for all they've done. They've done an awful lot for us, an awful lot. And we still love them, and we want what's best for them. And we also have to acknowledge that maybe God is leading them in this time, and be respectful of that. So I just want to share that with you because I think we all wonder, we all have pieces of the story, and I saw Dave recently, big smile on his face, looks happy. I speak with Dave, I speak with Liz regularly. I think I'm just hopeful that God is looking out for them and they're in a good place. And I'll just leave it at that. So I hope that's helpful. If there is anything you have a question for, ask me, and if I can share it, I will. Best thing is ask the person concerned. They can tell it in the way that they want to tell it. Okay? So I hope that's helpful. So we'll go on to our scripture. We don't have an anthem. We've got our getting into. I had to find the sermon, which. Okay, I brought it here from.
Oh, you didn't have to use. Hey, Artie, did you want to say anything about the pancake supper at all?
Yes.
You didn't say anything. I was looking for you. You're in the announcements.
It's late, sorry.
Okay.
Just thank you, of course, to everybody who helped out and came and donated money and everything. It was another successful pancake supper, and we brought in $810, and that becomes $3,240 when the government matches it for the Canadian Food Bank today. So thanks again.
Yes, please.
I was speaking last Sunday with Richard and Julie. They're the people that have been coming recently, and Richard's going in for heart surgery this week. So if you could keep him in your prayers, that would be sure appreciated.
Yes.
Unless he gets bumped again, sometimes you don't know. Anyway.
So, I'm going. I don't have my sermon here, which makes me think, which I can do it without my notes. It just makes me think about a funny story I was reading. I was reading a book by George Eliot, and it's about ministers in the mid-1800s. And there was a revival going on there, and churches were splitting from the Church of England, and evangelism was starting. There were starting to be these evangelists. And a big criticism of the evangelists was that they preached without notes. So it became so controversial that one evangelist minister, he would walk up to the pulpit with notes. They didn't have anything on them, but so that people would think he had notes, and then they would relax. Who do you say that I am? This is a question that Jesus asks the disciple Peter. Who do you say that I am? And it's a good question for all of us to consider. To us, who is Jesus? Who is Jesus? That is a good question for any Christian to ask themselves. And it's particularly important to ask yourself and to take some time to consider this question during Lent. Lent is a time to draw closer to God, time to be reflective, because as we do this, approaching Easter, we will have a deeper appreciation of who Jesus is and the sacrifice that Jesus made for us. When Jesus began his ministry, the first thing he did was he was baptized. The second thing he did is he went out into the desert to take some time, to take 40 days, silence, prayer, fasting. This was an important way for him to prepare for his mission. His mission would begin as soon as that time was over. And if you've ever had to prepare for a major project, a major life change, perhaps you're starting a new job, perhaps you're getting married, perhaps you're moving. Anytime you're preparing for something big, a big change, a big challenge, it's really important to take some time in your life for reflection. That's what Jesus is doing. And it's important to draw on God, the Spirit of God, to help guide you, help you with discernment, to help empower you through that time of change. Now, when Jesus is in the desert, he's fasting. And the first challenge that he reaches is the temptation that the devil offers him. The devil says, "You're hungry. Look at these stones. You can turn them. You could easily turn these stones into loaves of bread." And I can imagine when you're hungry, we're so hungry, that temptation would have been great. But Jesus says, no, the man does not live on bread alone. Jesus was seeking more than material nourishment. Jesus needed spiritual nourishment. Temptation is something that we all face, particularly when we are trying to do something that is important, that we are invested in, that we want to succeed. There are all sorts of temptations that can throw us off our path. Eric Liddell, I showed you the video of his race at the 1924 Olympics in Paris, faced temptation. He was considered the fastest man in Great Britain. He was considered their greatest hope for a gold medal at the Paris Olympics. But there was a problem. The race was going to take place on a Sunday. And Eric Liddell, a strong Christian, the son of two missionaries, would not run on a Sunday. He would not run on the Sabbath. And there was a lot of pressure on him to change his mind. Imagine the temptation. Here he is. he can win a gold medal. It's fairly certain that he would win a gold medal if he ran the 100-meter race. And that gold medal, just being in the Olympics, but getting a gold medal, that is the epitome of success and glory for any high-level athlete. But Eric Liddell did not run for his own glory. Now, members of his team tried to convince him, "Glenn, we really want someone we want our team to win a gold medal." He wasn't running for the glory of his friends and other athletes. His future king, the Prince of Wales, came to him and said, "Please run for England. We need this gold medal." But he was not running for the glory of England. He was running for the glory of God. He also faced another challenge, and that was his family. He was born in China to two missionaries, and they sent him to Great Britain for his education, along with his sister. And there they were very active in the church. His sister was concerned about how important running was becoming to him. And when Eric missed a prayer meeting, she said to him, "You care more about running than you do about God." And he said, no, that is not true. Once I finish this race, I will go back into missionary work. But I believe that God made me fast. I believe that God made me fast for a purpose, and when I run, I feel his pleasure. I run for the glory of God. So he assured his sister. It still remains the problem that he was not going to run the 100-meter race. And then several things happened that enabled him to be at that Olympics. A team member who was slotted for the 400-meter race gave up his spot for Eric to run. Now, this was a great gesture. It was not an assured success for Eric. It was not his specialty. You know, the men and women who run the 100-meter dash, that is specialized. They're good for 10 seconds or how long it takes. They are not longer distance runners. So it wasn't Eric's specialty. But another temptation, just like in the desert, the devil said to Jesus, here, you could jump off this high cliff and nothing would hurt you because God would lift you up and protect you. And Jesus says, do not test God. Well, Eric Liddell did not test God. I feel that with his strong faith, he could have said, okay, now I've got this opportunity to run the 400-meter race. Let me win, God. Let me win this for your glory. But he didn't just count on God. He trained for it. He had some time, not a lot of time, but he had weeks. And he trained really hard for that 400-meter event. And as you can see there, he won. And he won for the glory of God. His life went on to continue to have some great challenges in it. He went back to China as a missionary and did wonderful work for a number of years. But then there was a war that broke out between the Japanese and the Chinese, and he was put in an internment camp. I think it was Japanese and Chinese, if I remember correctly. He was put in a prisoner of war camp. And he was instrumental in helping many people in that camp survive, particularly the youth. He engaged them in activities, he spoke to them, he encouraged them. When someone received a special gift of eggs, he encouraged them to share this with everybody. And a lot of people credit Eric Liddell's faith and optimism and encouragement with their making it through their time in that prisoner of war camp. Eric Liddell did not make it through. It turned out that he had a brain tumor, an untreated brain tumor, and he died in that camp. There's a memorial to him at the place where he died, which is now, I believe, a school of some sort. I'm not sure if it has a faith-based school, but it is a school. And he's remembered and is credited for a man who had the courage of his convictions. He ran a race that was not just about running, it was about more than running. His race was not just a sprint, it was more like a marathon. And not like a marathon that you run on your own, but more like a relay race. And I feel like that's what we as a human race are engaged in, is a relay race. People who came before us pass on the baton of their faith to us, and we run with it, and we pass it on to the next runner coming up behind. And we have to have faith. I don't know if you know about relay racing, but you're not allowed to turn, right? You can't turn and look behind you, you'll lose time. Your hand goes out behind, and that baton is put in your hand. So we can't know. It's faith. You have faith in that race, that there's someone putting that behind, that baton in your hand. And you have faith that you can run it forward. And you have a team. And I think that's what we have here. And I think that what I hope and pray that we can do in this coming year is to look at what are our strengths. What is God inviting us to run with, to do in this church? What is our mission? Eric Little very much knew his mission was to run and then to serve in China. I think we can spend some time in prayerful discernment, just checking out what is God inviting us to do, and knowing that God is with us in this race. In Jesus' name, amen. This next, it's a song, and we'll be doing it the traditional way, where the choir will start with the refrain, then I will have the leaders part, and we will say the parts in bold-faced type, and then we'll all sing the refrain together. This song was particularly inspirational to Eric Little. Shelter of your God, who abide in God's shadow for life.
Say to your God, my refuge, my rock, in whom I trust.
The snare of the fowler will never catch you, and famine will bring you no fear.
Under God's wings your refuge, God's faithfulness your shield. And I will praise
You need not fear the terror of the night, nor the arrow that flies by day.
Though thousands fall about you, near you it shall not come.
For to the angels is given a command to guard you in all your ways.
Upon their hands they will bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone.
Because they have set their love upon me, I will deliver them.
I will uphold them because they know my name.
When they call to me, I will answer.
I will be with them in trouble.
I will rescue and bring them to honor.
With long life I will satisfy them and show them my saving power. And I will praise you on eagle's wings.
still gave all he could as his offering to God. He offered his talent to God to bear witness to his mission and God's glory. Let us give what we can to God to bear witness to God's mission and God's glory. Lord, bless these our gifts and bless these givers. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. After I said prayers of the people, we will be saying the Lord's Prayer, the translation that is inspired by the Maori people and Polynesians, and it comes out of the, I think it's the Uniting Church in New Zealand. This is one of my particular favorites. You may have a favorite. We've been cycling through the traditional Our Lord's Prayer, the Quaker Prayer, Lord's Prayer written by Parker Palmer. If you want to have a conversation, send me an email, tell me, talk to someone in the worship committee, what your particular favorite might be, and we'll listen. Let us pray. Loving and gracious God, each morning as we get up, we often turn to the radio or newspapers or perhaps to people in our family to hear the news of the day. Sometimes this news is good and is cause for celebration, and sometimes this news is bad and is concerning. We pray, Lord, for the people who and families who have been impacted by the plane crash in Ethiopia, and we pray, Lord, that they will feel your loving strength and guiding hand help them through this very difficult time. We pray, Lord, for people who are facing surgery, and like Richard Robinson, or Julie's husband, Richard, and we pray that you will be with them both. Give them hope, give them assurance, and help them to have the very best of care, not just of the medical kind, but of the supportive friend, family, neighbor, and church kind. May we all pray for them as they go through this. We pray, Lord, for people like David and Liz Hull, who are currently taking a break from this place of worship. We pray, Lord, that you are with them on their journey, leading them, guiding them, helping them. And Lord, we also pray for people who are facing any kind of change, whether it's a change in health, change of someone that they love being farther away, perhaps dying, or perhaps someone new coming into their life. Lord, be with us in all of our challenges. Let us never forget that you are there, helping, guiding, strengthening, empowering. May we always love you. We raise to you in the silence of our hearts the causes, concerns, and people that lay heavily upon them. Let us say together the words of the Lord's Prayer. Eternal Spirit, earth maker, pain bearer, life giver, source of all that is and that shall be, Father and Mother of us all, loving God in whom is heaven, the hallowing of your name echo through the universe, the way of your justice be followed by the peoples of the world. Your heavenly will be done by all created beings. Your commonwealth, peace, and freedom, sustain our hope and heaven on earth. With the bread we need for today, feed us. In the hurts we absorb from one another, forgive us. In the times of temptation and test, strengthen us. From trial to tribulation, spare us. From the grip of all that is evil, free us. For your reign, the glory, and the power that is love, now and forever. I invite you now to join in singing "Would You Bless Our Homes and Families." Go into these next days of Lent, remembering that the journey through the wilderness leads to resurrection, and the journey of Good Friday ends in Easter Sunday. Go in hope, go in peace.
They're giving us a deal.
The kids are all on campus.
Yeah, something really struck.
Yes, it's just fine.
They need to know.
Yeah, we have to scrap that. They have to straighten it off.
But I am, the thing is, I want it, so.
Yeah.
Do you need? Yeah.
You got a sheet for her?
You just pocket it all.
Like a sheet, made up sheet?
Oh, yes.
Well, I had one of these.
All day long, you're already, but you can't do anything about it.